All right, it's that time. You asked for it. Welcome to How to Rehair a Violin Bow with Things You Can Find Around Your Kitchen, Part 1. Here we go. Okay, so this is the first video that I've done in a response to a comment. I don't really know why I'm doing this because this is a process that is a huge pain in the butt. And it costs you about 60 to 70 bucks depending on who you go to get your bow rehaired. And by the end of this video, you're gonna realize why it's 60 to 70 dollars, and it's probably better to send them off and get them done because this is a horrible and arduous process. But I'm gonna do it for you anyway because you asked for it. Here we go. All right, as you know, every time I do myself a unfortunate favor of eating a fruit, every time I do a video, this is the one that I saw first when I opened the fridge up today, unfortunately. And this knife is incredibly dull. That'll give you a headache. Oh, my eyes are watering. Okay, well, that is not good. All right, enough of that nonsense. Oh. I need to take some Advil or Relief or something. That was bad. Okay, let's get us a list of what we're gonna need for this video. Okay, you're gonna need a cup of water, a pair of needle nose pliers, a comb, a little tiny pokey thing. It doesn't have to be a screwdriver or anything. It's just something that's pointy and pokey. A pencil, a box of matches, a section of hair, a cord of hair, a hank. Is that it? A Hank Williams of hair. I'm not sure. Anyway, some hair that you're going to get from a music store. This is special hair for violins, so you're gonna need that. A hank of hair, if that's what you call it, and a razor knife. And then you're gonna need a little block of wood. Now, normally you are gonna be using none of these tools. Maybe this, I don't know. None of these tools. Because if you are a classically trained violin luthier, you're going to be using actual tools. But this video, I decided to show all of you guys who wanted to know this video or wanted me to do this video, kind of a alternative way of doing it, with like the basics of basics that you can find anywhere and most people have. Also, one more thing, you're gonna need some rosin crushed up and turned into powder that I've done here. And then you're gonna need some super glue. All right, let's jump right into it. Okay, first off, we are going to cut the hair on this boy. Cha-ching! Here we go. I don't exactly know if we can just pop this out. Maybe we can. I don't know if it's glued in or not. It shouldn't be glued in. If it was done correctly, it shouldn't be glued in. Oh, well, that's not coming out. Normally they come out. Okay, well, that came out. All right, it's just coming out in chunks. Meh. Alright, well, this stupid thing is not coming out. Oh, there we go. I just broke it off. Alright, so when you get done with this, throw it in the trash, roll it up, do whatever you need to do with it. Just get rid of it. Probably going to be a mess. Alright, so now we're going to clean out and make sure that this thing up here is finished and got all the hair out of it. Okay. Now that the tip of our bow is cleaned out, we shall go down here to the frog. So I may have to use pliers to get this off because this little ferrule, this piece of metal, slides off of here. All right, come on, Mr. Ferrule. Get off of there. Alright, so now that we got the ferrule off, he's a little bit gummed up because he used the pliers. Not a good idea, don't do that unless you absolutely have to. Notice that there's a little piece of wood right here on the frog. That is glued in with super glue. You have to get that off of there. So just pop that off. That is your little wedge that you put in there. That you're going to have to make another one of. Alright, so this, you should put your thumb on it. This is the little mother of pearl, or depending on what you have on here, this is the little cover that holds the hair down. This little guy, hold this hair back and pop him out. Maybe. Basically what I'm doing right now is I'm just pushing this down in there and breaking it apart, and it's coming out in pieces. Normally they'll pop out if they were done right, but this one is not cooperating. Oh, here we go. Big chunk. Use this. Oh, there we go. See, it came right out. Okay. So now, if you can see, there's a hole down in there. Make sure that's all blown out and done and ready to go. One other thing that I forgot to mention was you're gonna need some thread. Now the reason why you're gonna need the thread is because of this end right here. Now, why are you gonna need that? In order to create this bend right here, you have to tie it with string. There's already some string here, and it looks like they put a tad bit of glue on it. Now this one already has some thread on it, this end right here. So we're gonna use the thread for the other end when we do get there. So, light ourselves up a match and burn the end. Heat it up and then stick it down in the rosin. Sometimes, depending on what kind of bow you have, I've seen where they will actually send you this little black thing that you can sit on the end of this and it will hold your bow straight up. Well, we're gonna do something a little bit more conventional. We're just gonna tape it to the table. I'm gonna keep it steady that way. Now, I wanna reiterate my disclaimer, and that is you would never do what I'm doing right here to a very nice bow. You're just not gonna do that. And the reason is, if you got something that's really expensive, you're probably not gonna wanna do it yourself, okay? But if you do have a junky bow that you don't really care about messing up and you just wanna do this because you don't wanna spend the money, then this is not a big of a deal. Anyway, with that out of the way, we're gonna go on to the next step, which is we have to put a bend in our hank. Well, dang, that didn't really work. Well, I guess the rosin didn't really work that well. I don't know what they were using in the videos that I watched, but I'm gonna put a little super glue on the end of this. Be careful with the super glue. If you wanna use it to seal the end of your hank, because you don't want it to run up your hair because that will cause lots of problems. All right, so we take our hank of hair and we're going to slide him down into the frog, making sure that you fit all the way down to the bottom. Now that that works, we have to take Mr. Hank here and turn him at a 90-degree angle. Pinch it like this. I've seen people do this, which basically is forcing your hair to stay at the 90-degree angle. This will work. So you have the 90-degree angle. Now, if that is too long, you can always rebend the hair at a shorter distance by crimping it closer to the knot. Now, it appears to be close enough. All right, see that? So what we just did there, we forced Mr. down in there, and that is how it's supposed to fit. The hank of hair with the knot is supposed to fit down in there just like so. All right, so the next thing we're gonna be doing is we're gonna make a little piece of wood that's going to fit down and pinch, and basically a stopper to hold the little hank of hair in place. This I've already cut, but we're going to refine it and make sure that it's right. So I have this little piece of wood that's roughly the right size, and I'm gonna stick it down in my frog to see if it's the right size. So it's a little bit too long. So I'm gonna come over here to my resin knife, and I'm just going to slice a little sliver of wood off and see if we got the right width at least. That looks about all we need. All right, so the next part we're gonna do is figure out how deep it needs to be. That deep, right there. So we are going to cut it. Okay, here we go. We have our little piece of wood that goes in here and stops the hair from coming out. It's like a wedge, only it's not tapered. It's a square wedge, if that makes any sense. Now you may have to use, depending on how fragile your piece of wood is, a larger thing to push it because it will break on you, and that's not something you want to do. All right, so now the little piece of wood is in there. We have a very, very, very important thing that we need to do, and that is making sure we have our ferrule on before we do anything up here. This is something that I've messed up in a couple times where I had the bow all rehaired and I forgot to put this on. And if you're doing it for a customer or anybody else, you have to put this on. So you're probably gonna have to redo the whole thing. So that's why this is very, very important. An easy way to do this, and this is where the thread is gonna come in handy. Cut yourself a little piece of thread, loop it around the hank of hair like this. Make sure that you have your ferrule going in the right direction. We're gonna thread our little pieces of thread through. So now that we have this right here, and then all you do, pull the hair with the piece of thread through the ferrule, and there you go. It's a lot easier than trying to thread each individual one through it. I know that was a rather abrupt ending to that video, but I have to give you a slight bit of backstory, and this is the backstory. When I filmed the video, I didn't realize that I was going to have to cut it into 2 parts. So I'm just kind of filming the intro and outro to this afterwards, because that's kind of what happens in filming. You don't really realize that you don't exactly know what you're doing. Also, to all of you sharp-eyed people that pay way too close attention to my videos, you'll realize that I've had a haircut in between the middle of this video. So, short hair when I started, long hair when I ended, or when I continued the middle of the video, and then short hair again at the end. It's a magician trick. You should try it. It's fancy stuff. Alright, all joking aside, come back next week, or if you ask me, I will drop the second part of this video maybe in the middle of the week, halfway in between my normal release times, just for you guys. So we will see. Ask me nicely. Alright, come back for part 2 of how to rehair a violin bow with things you can find around your kitchen. And leave a comment, leave a like. Also, if you want to follow me, I have all of my Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything that I have, my website, all of that linked in the description. Well, it's actually not linked. It's just there in the description. So if you want to follow me, just look down there. All of my information is there. All right. Till next time, peace out. Till next time, peace out.